We're continuing our data engineering or our extraction, transform, and load. So we are transforming the data. In our previous videos, we cleaned, we coded, now we are manipulating. And in fact, we've already done some manipulation because when you code, sometimes you manipulate at the same time. And so, for example, when we coded, we took question 1 and question 4, and we turned those responses into code. So if you were improved benefits, you were 1, improved working conditions, you were 2. But at the same time, because that question was a mix of multiple choice or open-ended, we had to manipulate the data there. So we created 2 variables, one that was the multiple choice with an added label for the other, and then a second variable that was just the open-ended other responses. So you've already manipulated the data a bit already. So when we manipulate, we can separate into open option. We can separate the open option from the list. So we're separating the open option and the multiple choice. We can also change the measurement scale. So as you are doing your analysis, when you are looking at the data, you might determine that a question you had asked maybe was open-ended, asking how many years someone had been there. You know, the responses could be 2 years, could be 20 years, could be 19 years. And when you took in the data, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I can see, you know, how many years people have been here and where it tends to congregate. Where's the central tendency in that? What's the average? But maybe you don't have a very big data set, and so you got one number and a different number and a different number, all quite scattered apart. And so you can't actually do anything with it. Or maybe you have a really big data set, but at the end of the day, whether someone's been here 19 years or 20 years doesn't actually change your behavior, doesn't change your decision. It doesn't actually matter. Maybe what matters is more grouping. There's a difference in whether someone's been here 5 years or 15, but not 17 or 18, right? So what we might do is change the measurement scale. So recall our measurement scales are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. When you change the measurement scale, you can go from interval ratio down to ordinal, down to nominal. You can't go the other direction. You can't turn nominal into ordinal. That's extra information you don't have. But you can go down. You can simplify the data and the information it provides. For example, we could take that ratio data of the number of years and we could bin it. So we could look at 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and look at them in terms of groups, because then we can change our decisions based on if our people are more new or whether they've been here for a long time. The other way we can manipulate data is we could separate out our data table and make 2 tables, a quantitative table, a qualitative table. We could separate them, and that allows us to do the analysis a bit faster because everything in the quantitative table can have the same application to it, or everything the qualitative table can. So we can manipulate the data that way. All right, so let's take a look at how this works. You could do manipulation. You could do manipulation in Excel before you pour it into Python for any analysis. If you were going to manipulate in Excel where you're doing your binning, where you're changing that ratio to more ordinal, where you have 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, so there's still order there, but we have less information. You could do that in Excel. To do that in Excel, you have an if statement. So if the number in the original column is greater than 15, then let's label it a 4. If the number in the original column is more than 10, let's label it a 3. So you have a bunch of nested ifs. The challenge with doing this in Excel is if you don't have your commas and your quotes in the right spots, your parentheses in the right spots, then it doesn't work out. And it can be challenging to figure out where you went wrong. The other challenge, of course, is direction matters. Whether you're going greater than symbols or less than symbols in order to get it to do and not just label everybody in one category. So we're going to do it in Python instead of Excel. The other reason to do it in Python is that you might decide later that you need it. So maybe you originally think, I'm going to analyze it with the ratio write-in response number. And then later, as you do your exploratory data analysis and you dig deeper into what the information conveys, you find out that you really can't do a whole lot with what you got. And so then you want to bin it. And so since we're already in Python at that point doing our analysis, we might as well know how to do it in Python. So we're going to do it that way. All right, so let's go into Python. We are working through this data prep workbook. So just for the 1 millionth time, in case you forgot, we are working from the workbooks in drstephpowers.github.io/BIA. Right now we're working from the appendix here. Data prep is the workbook. Again, open in Google Colab, log into your Google Drive, save a copy for yourself. In this particular data set, we are working through an Excel file. It is called Bargain Clean. You can find it right here or in your learning management system. Make sure you save that. Make sure you dump that into your Google Drive in the same folder where you dump in all this notebooks. Because when we get into the Google Drive, I'll just scroll up here, into the Colab notebook, you will need to mount your own Google Drive so you have access to your files, and then you'll need to import that file. So content/drive/my drive is the same for everybody. And then what goes next is the folder name inside your Google Drive where you put all this stuff. So mine is in BIBA Handbook, and then it's inside a folder inside that called Chapter 4, and the name of the file is Bargain Clean. So wherever you put it, make sure you can locate it because you'll need to load in that Excel file to make it work. All right, we've loaded our Excel file in, so now let's go to manipulate our data. We need pandas as PD because we're going to use a command called cut that's going to help with our binning. And we need to import numpy as NP, especially if we're going to be dealing with the NaNs in our process. In a previous video, we looked at how to separate out a question where it's open-ended and multiple choice, so we won't go through that again in our manipulate video. But I do want to show you how to bin your data and how to separate into two separate tables. So we import pandas as PD and import numpy as NP. What we're then going to do is create a new variable called question 24a, and it is going to come from cutting using pandas. That's the pd.cut. We're going to cut whatever's in column 24, question 24, from the table we've called df, and we are going to cut the responses in question 24 based on the bins. And our bins here are 0, 5, 10, 15, 100. The way the bins work is that it includes the upper bound, but doesn't include the lower bound, which I know is the opposite of the range. So when we look at this first bin that we're going to label 1 is going to be more than 0, but could include 5. Then the next bin is going to be more than 5, up to and including 10, and we'll label it 2. Then we have our next bin, which is more than 10, up to and including 15, which we'll label 3, and then more than 15 up to and including 100. When you create these bins, make sure that the lower bound and the upper bound are outside of your range. So in this case, no one's going to say they've been here 0 years. They've been here at least a half a year or a fraction of it. And we know no one's worked for the company for more than 100 years. So just spliced here because I had some technical difficulties. The whole computer just turned black. Got overheated. Too many videos. Too excited about data analytics, I guess. So we have our bins 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 all the way to 100. We know that there's not more than 100. We removed the 300 from the data set when we did our cleaning. So here we can run this, we do our imports, and we create this new variable with our labels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if they answered nothing in question 24, then there should be nothing in question 24a. The last thing I want to look at here as we manipulate the data is to create two different data frames to separate out the qualitative and the quantitative data. So we have data that is quantitative, That's the ones we coded, and that, so if we look at our original data set here, right, our contract type, we can code part-time, full-time. We can code our satisfaction levels in question 3. So we could separate out the coded data from the non-coded data, those open-ended questions, those write-ins. And so how do we do that? Well, you could specify what you want in terms of inside the new variable. So we could call this data frame 4 and say data frame 4 consists of question 1b, 4b, 9, 16, 19, and 21. So that works fine if there's only a couple of variables in your new data set. But what you see here is that we have a data set with a lot of variables. We don't have to write out question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. And so what we can do is do the opposite. So we could say, okay, let's create, and here we have, we'll call it DF qual. So here's the list of qualitative variables. Question 1, question 4, question 1b, 4b, 9, 16, 19, and 21. So here's a list of the qualitative variables. So what we're going to do is create data frame number 2, so table number 2. We'll call it DF2. And DF2 is the same as DF, the original table, but we're going to drop the list of that DF qual. So we're going to drop the qualitative from the original table and relabel it DF2. That's what this is saying here. Take table DF, drop whatever's in this list. And this list is a list of variables, Q1, Q4, Q1b, 4b, and so on. Okay, the other thing to specify is the axis in which the dropping is happening. And so we want to drop the columns, and so we're going to do axis equals 1. We'll do DF2 is the name of our new table, and we can take a look at that new table by doing df2.head. So you can see we have created a new table here, which is just the coded variables, which means we can run all types of analysis that can be done on numbers to the whole table, and then identify later whether or not they're relevant, speeding up the process. To create the table that is just the qualitative, we can take the list and we could then just create a table from it. Now, if you are just taking a couple columns from the original table, then you want to essentially just make a copy of the data frame. So we're going to make another copy of the data frame, and we're just going to pull certain columns from it, and we'll relabel it DF4. Now, we don't actually need question 1 because we have just the open-ended questions from 1 that we'll call 1B. And we don't actually need question 4. We just need the open-ended questions from it, so that's 4B. So previously we had excluded question 1 and question 4 because we have our new versions, 1A and 4A. Here we're excluding the originals because we just want those the qualitative portions of it. So we take our original data frame, we take the columns Q1B, 4B, 9, 16, 19, 21, and we make a copy. Okay, this is allowing us to tweak and edit it separately from the original data frame without changing the original data frame. So we're saving a copy, and we're calling the new copy DF4. And so then you can see that this is just the qualitative. And so then we can apply methods specifically to that qualitative data, or we can apply methods specifically to the coded data.